And what the video is pretty much pertaining is how I used to be. And then I learned my history. You saw me looking through those books. You learn your history. You learn your identity. And you create a sense of pride in who you are and how you look like in your features. So then turning in the result is I don't want to be like everybody wants to be. I don't want to be that blonde chick on the magazine. I want to be myself because I think that I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful Mexican indigenous woman. And that's what we're trying to show here. And like I said, it was something that was particularly special to me because that's what I went through. When I was in high school, I was always overweight and I'm too dark and I have a big forehead. They used to make fun of me when I was in junior high. That they called me smash head or big head or big forehead. Because my head, I don't know if you can notice, it's very Mayan. It's very like that. It's very Mayan. I didn't know that though. I didn't know it's something I can be proud of. Oh shit, I'm Mayan. If I would have known in high school that all the Mayan civilization brought to the rest of the world, I would have been like, hell yeah, I'm Mayan. Hell yeah, I have a big forehead. I'm proud of it too, you know what I mean? But I wasn't. I was embarrassed. I was shy. I didn't talk much in high school. I didn't talk because I was always felt, like you always feel that some kind of, you feel like an outsider. So we actually talked about it within our own personal experiences because I saw it, I finally realized it, you know, after I became involved, then you start reading. I got to college and I did start taking Chicano studies classes, but you kind of pick whatever you can get from those kind of classes sometimes or anything else. For Citalli, I met her at ELAC. I was walking by, she had an informational booth, you know, and then she had the books, like you guys have them outside. That's how I approached them. How some of you guys approach the table. I approached, I saw the book, I saw the flyer, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this, you know what I mean? So then you become more involved and you start reading. I started researching on my own, and then we became really good friends. And then within our own little experiences, past experiences, we decided, or she came up with the idea of the video. And she said, the perfect person is you, Vero. I'm like, okay, so let's do this, you know? And we did the video. It didn't take us that long, because we just wanted to get it out there and see what people or girls wanted to say. What we wanted to show it to girls, young girls. I know when we did it, we emailed it to everybody to get feedback from. Our message was being sent across for all the young girls because I have cousins that are very dark complected, and a lot of my family is very dark complected, and I have little cousins that are like, oh, I'm too dark. I had one that she put it on her MySpace. I wish I wasn't so dark. She put it on her MySpace. So yeah, I don't know.
And also, what happened last night?
Oh, yesterday, as a matter of fact, last night. And it's something that still happens. I have a little sister, a little 6-year-old little sister, and she was on the internet. She was in one of those websites, those kids' websites that teach you how to read, and they have cartoons, and they have modules for counting and stuff. And there was one that it gave you a blank face and a blank head, and you have to, it asked you, what do you look like? And then they ask you, what color are your eyes? What color is your hair? What color is your skin? So then she was going to pick her hair. It's asked her, what color is your hair? She has dark brown, long, curly hair. And then I told her, what color is your hair? And then she's like, this one. She picked the yellow one, the blonde one. Oh. And I was like, why? Your hair is not yellow. Your hair is brown. Put it brown. But I don't like that one. I like the yellow one. So she picked the yellow one, okay? So then they asked her, what color is your skin? I put brown, put the brown one. And then she picked the light brown one, but then she's like, no, I'm gonna change it. And she changed it to the white one. This is yesterday, last night. I'm not like, I swear. And I'm like, but you don't look like that. She's like, but I like this one. I like the way it looks. And then she picked her eyes. She did pick brown eyes, at least. She picked her brown eyes. What color are your eyes? Brown. So she put brown eyes. But this is kind of like, it's still happening within our community. She's 6 years old. She's barely going to first grade. She hasn't been through the educational system, but she already has that in her mind. So you grew up with that image. You grew up with that same image, the same image I grew up with. And I saw it in my little sister. I don't live with her, so I feel even worse because I'm not even there to, you know, input my knowledge or what I think or what I feel. So that's what happened to me last night. And sometimes when you approach that, you don't even know what to say. I didn't know what to say. I was like, what do I do? Look at her, you know? But I told her, you have brown skin, you have brown eyes, you look very pretty, but she still wasn't hearing it. And she just like walked away and like whatever. So like I said, it's still within our community. It's still there as young as 6 years old or 5 years old. So I don't
That's
know
why I
what else.
thought it was very important for me.
Oh,
Recording this for YouTube, so we gotta get all mic'd up. It's really important, growing up, you see these images and, you don't really get positive reinforcement in your family because our family really don't know our history. And so, like I said, these images, I remember, like my mom, she has green eyes, right? And I remember her telling me, I'm so sorry you didn't come out with green eyes. I was really hoping maybe your kids will come out with green eyes. And this is my own mother telling me this. So, and not that they are aware of the extent of damage that's being done to us, because we think it's normal. We think white is just prettier. Everyone knows that. It's nothing bad. But really, where do we get that? Where we put our culture, our beauty down, and we value the white up here. So a lot of the videos that you're going to see on my channel, a lot of the work that we do is to outreach to these young Mexican, Central American Native women who, without knowing, we're getting these ideas and these images, and that hurts us as a people. When we're like, you know what, I'm ugly. Like with Vero, I don't know how to approach her. Like I hope, you could take this on. But with her, we have shared that, we have that common experience and that common experience as far as, imagery. And I mean, we're really dealing with the weight. We're dealing with be anorexic, thick, thin. And now even to add the race factor. But it's hard for us to talk about that because this is not something that we even think is wrong in our communities, right? Like when a baby is born, if the baby has blue eyes or green eyes, what happens? There's a big old celebration. Oh my God, the baby has blue eyes, green eyes. Oh my God, que bonita, right? And at the same time, under that same breath, you have the dark baby, like, dude, what's up with me? I'm pretty too, And I mean, these little kids grow up and they're like, I'm ugly. I need to look like this to be pretty. But now this is just the physical aspects of being a colonized people, of not being taught our history. But let's get back into what happened. What happened before we became a people who doubt our beauty and doubt our heritage? We have, I put this one together just to kind of show you, what does it mean to be a Mexican, Central American, Native American woman? Before the invasion, we don't know. We don't have any idea. We're like, oh, they're in tippies and women were pregnant all the time. And then I hear a lot of, feminists that come to me and say, but the Indian women were treated like crap. Indigenous women didn't do anything. And I'm like, really? Right? And then you go in there and you do the study and you realize, wait a second. Our indigenous ancestors, as far as women, we had a lot more say in our lives than if you were a European woman in Europe in around 1500s, 1400s. For example, we have mandatory education that is found in what we know as Aztec civilization. The actual term is Mexica, like I talked earlier. Mexica, that's where you get the word Mexican. We don't know that in our society before the European invasion, women were being educated and women were participating in all aspects of society. We have, we have different images here. You have the childbirth. I mean, we're not really used to seeing childbirth this graphic, but at that time and place, childbirth was a very risky business. It's not like today, like, oh, here's a shot and here's your baby, you're good to go. The life expectancy of a woman at that time was very, very low. So it's really honored and sacred. You have Olmec women. Let's talk about Olmec. We're going back thousands and thousands of years. This is about 2500 BCE, so more than 4,000 years ago. You have women being portrayed in sculptures. You have women being portrayed as sculptures just like the men were. Men were portrayed in the same way that this woman was. And this is all by archaeological evidence. And then we have, this is like somebody was asking me, where do I get my images from? It's really hard to get the authors. I Googled it and I tried to get their names, but a lot of these images you could find on there. Like we have the Mayan women here. This is supposed to be a Mayan princess. And actually, a Mayan princess, this is not just a fairy tale, but in Mayan society, you have women rulers. You have women who have the same say as men in our societies. There's a lot of very complex history with the Mayan area, but women are very present and are very obviously demonstrated in the same leadership roles as the men. Now, behind me, thank you, we have these images here. And these are really, really important because all of these here, they're reconstructions of the Florentine Codex. And those of you that, you'll get my flyer on there. When the Spaniards got here, after they killed 95% of our people, those of us that survived, we were brainwashed, obviously. We were taught Spanish language. And we were, you know, and they asked us, well, what was your culture like? You know, I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to come back, because the federal government at that time, the Spanish government, said, we need to know more about these people. We don't want them to be able to practice their ways. We don't want them to be able to, you know, reproduce their culture and their traditions. So let's find out more about them so that when they're doing it, we can point that out. And not because they were curious and, oh, wow, these people, let's find out about them. But there was a very, very sneaky intention behind that. So what we have here are some of the reconstructions of what our people drew at the time of, this is about 1550, and keep in mind, 1492, the whole Columbus thing in Mexico was 1519. So this is already years after the initial contact.